Welcome back, everybody, to Toronto Defiant Community Cup for Pride. We are here with the grand finals matchup here between NY Kittens and Bonzi Buddies, but these two teams are going to be playing for just a little bit more than their pride. They're also playing for charity.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be 10, or excuse me, 1,000 Canadian dollars to the LGBTQ charity of the winning team's choice. And we're going to bring up those team screens real quick to show you exactly their rosters and as well as who they're playing for. So the NY Kittens, same team that we just saw win the last semifinal 2-0 over the Silly Squad, same exact starting lineup as well. They have Rainbow Railroad as their charity of choice. And if you don't know Rainbow Railroad, it's a great organization. They help people of bisexual, gay, lesbian, transgender, queer, intersex individuals, plus escape violence and persecution in their home countries.
Definitely a worthwhile charity, and NY Kittens are definitely going to be thinking about that while they're going through this matchup here. Remember, this one is going to be a first to three, not a best of three this time. So we were definitely, like you said, going to get to see more maps. And I mean, from what we saw from the squad on the first map in keeping the starting lineup, we know how formidable they are. We know how well they gel together. We know how well all of these pieces fit together. But let's have a quick little look at what they're up against. What task sits before them?
Yeah, it's going to be the Bonzi Buddies. Just came off a 2-1. We did get that clarified. It was a 2-1, so we apologize for lying to you. I would never lie on stream on purpose. But they still get the victory, still get here in the finals, and they've got some pretty good players of their own. I think we look at Suguru, DPS playing for Rift right now, just won the Open Division, and then Otters in that support lineup plays for UCI, so probably two of their most well-known players, and they're going to be playing for the Trevor Project, which gives you counseling. It's toll free for anyone who is in crisis and is a part of the LGBTQ plus community.
Yeah, Trevor Project, always one of the most prolific and one of the biggest charities within the LGBTQ community, and always one that we want to keep in mind, and one that again the Bonzi Buddies will likely be keeping in mind as they go up against the NY Kittens here. But one name on the side of Bonzi Buddies, I'm a little surprised to see that you didn't call out was Zebra, because if I see Zebra on this team, I only think of one hero, and that's Doomfist.
We're going to have to see if they one-trick that Doom to that prize pool that we talked about. Again, as an iteration, 1,000 Canadian dollars to that charity of the winning team's choice, but also a lot more on the line as well. 1,000 Overwatch League tokens per a member, and then as well as 5 AMD swag bags. So there is quite a bit on the line here, but no matter what, an amazing charity is going to be walking away with some more money in their pocket to help out those in need, and these teams will be walking away potentially with that title of the winner.
Yeah, and by the way, thank you very much to AMD, not only for the swag bags, but for the AMD Ryzen 5 70, I believe it was 7600X CPU that's going to be raffled off. Again, I don't believe casters are eligible, but every single player is eligible in this tournament. Again, not us, unfortunately, but we will have the winner of that announced at the end of the show. And for everyone else, that made the top 8 here, we do also have some prizing for them as well. Some very special limited edition Toronto Defiant mouse pads going out to all of them. So both of these teams going to at least get some of those, and everybody else who we've seen today going to be receiving one of those in the mail shortly as well. But it is once again about that $1,000 to the charity, as well as 1,000 owl tokens for every player, so they can get themselves some skins from their favorite Overwatch League teams, hopefully their favorite Canadian Overwatch League team on this particular side of Canada.
Yeah, I have no bias. I work for C9, so I'm going to say get some Spitfire skins. But secondly, definitely get some Defiant skins. I mean, this is an amazing cause that they are putting out. So without them, wouldn't be here doing this today. So definitely support the Defiant throughout the season as well. And, some of their players playing the World Cup right now. But looking here at this tournament, looking at this finals, it's time to predict that winner once again. This is for all the marbles. And I went against NY Kittens last time. I'm not going to make that same mistake. I'm going to say it's going to be them taking it. And I'm going to actually make it a little bit spicier. I'm also going to say the map score. It's going to be a 3-1 to New York Kittens.
Welcome to the team. Welcome to the team, because I'm also predicting NY Kittens again. I can't go against them, especially after seeing how well they handled what they had thrown at them in the past round. Like they were definitely able to keep their composure. And what that kind of tells me is that they're going to be able to do that in a chaotic situation. And I feel like Bonzi Buddies, if they do lean back onto that Doomfist that Zebra is known for, they're going to create a chaotic situation, and I think that is going to be enough for Bonzi Buddies to get at least that one map. So I'm also in agreement with it being a 3-1. So I think we're on pretty much the same page here, but I wouldn't be disappointed to see this one go to a 5-mapper.
I mean, I want to see it go the full distance. Absolutely. I want to see it go to that 5-map tiebreaker scenario where all the pressure is on, who can come out on top, who's able to be clutch when it matters most. That's the kind of Overwatch that I want to see today. But we got a long way to go before we get there. Still waiting on that first map to load up. And I think I want to talk a little bit more about that Doomfist while we have some extra time. I mean, Doomfist, not really meta. We did see it actually pull out in the last series very briefly, kind of as that emergency touch, that emergency pick just to get back to the point. I think Doomfist can still be pretty strong if you're a master like Zebra is, but it's all about creating chaos, basically breaking up your enemy team, making sure that they're all split out, making sure that they're not, playing in sync, that they're not coordinated. You're just trying to basically be as much a nuisance as you can.
Yeah, and we don't really have the intel to suggest that that's exactly what they have been playing this whole time. But I mean, they've gotten this far being this successful, and if that is what they're playing, then that tells me that likely this team knows how to play around that sort of thing, and it's not just creating that chaos, but capitalizing on the chaos that the Doomfist creates. So again, that's just what Zebra's known for, so it's a little bit of speculation. And Doomfist, while he's not in the worst, or he's not in the best place right now, is definitely something that could come out here on a map like Ilios that we're starting out with, and it's going to be specifically Ilios Ruins. And looky, I think I made a correct prediction.
You did indeed, and now it's New York Kittens. Can they play some nice counterplay here? I think right off the bat, you go for that Sombra, hack that Doomfist, make sure they don't get that punch out, make sure they can't go for that slam, that power block. Just basically take away their kit and make them a walking ult battery. But you can see Bonzi Buddies themselves are going to be playing around it. I can imagine Otters probably be trying to pocket Zebra a little bit. If they get hacked out, try to go immediately for that Suzu cleanse. So both teams, it's really going to be, can you take out the Doomfist? That's going to be the name of the game early on.
Yeah, and you can see Wisps over on the Sombra. They're definitely going to want to grief the Doomfist, but Zebra was not born yesterday, was forged in the fires of Overwatch ranks, so he's definitely going to know how to deal with the threat of those hacks. Meanwhile, Shugu, he's also going to be, threatening to hack a couple tanks if he has his way, but early forced out. Hack doesn't quite come through from Wisp, but they finally pick up onto Kai. So Bonzi Buddies might have to play a little bit safe there. Some AoE healing and some tempo kind of being taken off the field now, and NY Kittens can try and collapse on that, but the tempo is still being dictated nearly entirely by the punches that keep coming out from Zebra to displace, to harass, to annoy, and to potentially get forced off the map there by Sniper. What a boof there. Bye-bye, Zebra. That's one way to deal with a Doomfist. Didn't even need the hack for that one. Shuga going to be forced out as well, and this should be NY Kittens coming through with the cap here.
Eventually, I mean, New York Kittens got the first pick, yet still, you could see the staying power that Bonzi Buddies have with this Doomfist, with this Sombra, with this Tracer. They can just run around for ages, and this point still has not been traded back the other way. In fact, it's going to be a Nano forced out to try to get this done.
Yeah, Zebra does fall again, though, so NY Kittens trying to claw their way in here. We're up to 40% for Bonzi Buddies. I didn't even realize they had the first cap, but they've had it this whole time, and that is no good for NY Kittens. Nearly 50% going to be given up before they're able to flip it. Wicca with the cleanup there. NY Kittens have finally gotten themselves in.
And you're going to be a little bit happy with that. I mean, very happy, actually. If you're Bonzi Buddies, you get 40% on the clock, almost 50. You forced out Nano, you forced out Pulse Bomb. So you get a lot of work done in what was essentially a lost fight from the get-go, but the positioning, the objective play just a bit better. And now you're going to get the hack onto the Diva already. That self-destruct might have to be forced out from Sniper.
But the EMP from Wisps is just a little bit earlier than Shugu's. And in fact, Shugu's going to die immediately after he caps it. Whip going to go ahead and kill that with the whip shot. Kitsune rush from Otters. He gets a little bit too greedy going right into it. Finds himself in a foxhole there that can't quite get out of. Big anti-nade and a self-destruct from Sniper to pressure Bonzi Buddies back, but the fight's not quite over yet. Zebra nearly punched off the map, I believe, again. Gonna force out the Meteor Strike right on top of Aramori. And at 47% so far, NY Kittens, I think they're gonna have to concede this one. Bonzi Buddies looking to retake.
Yeah, it's all about stall now. You got to give up a little bit more point percentage before you give it up. And instead, actually, the touch there from Peace just not able to get there right in the nick of time. So only going to stop at 54%. A huge clutch play, I would say, from Zebra, because Aramori was super close to having that Nano. They get that online. That changes the entirety of that fight. So going for that Ana, I'm sure they were calling that they almost have Nano. Very strategic, very well played. And now Bonzi Buddies, despite having no ultimates, they are in the driver's seat, at least for the time being.
Yeah, but the Nano is there now. They didn't get to use it last fight. It is available now, but Peace has fallen early, and that's no good because there might not be a whole lot of cleanup once the damage from the Nano comes out. In fact, the Nano is going to come out onto Wicca, who does clean up Zebra there, though. So that is quite a bit of value there. That's also going to help her build up to that rally that can keep the fight going for the Kittens. They might be able to claw their way into this one. They might even be able to catch out Zamba. Goes for the Pulse Bomb, whiffs it onto Aramori, and yeah, Zamba does get caught out. They've lost Sniper, but the rally means the sustainability is still there. Now every health bar is going to feel like a tank health bar, so you don't even need the tank. And NY Kittens, they should be able to flip it here at 99.
They do, and it's all about the Nano onto Wicca, being able to build up that rally, staying alive through the EMP. Just everything was invested in it to this Brigitte player, and for a good reason. Not only is she one of the best in the lobby, she's able to keep her team alive throughout all of that. And let's Wisp build up the EMP, so they still have some counterplay here to what is this Kitsune Rush.
Kitsune Rush going to be forced out, as is the Suzu onto Zebra to try and keep him alive. Aramori is actually going to get picked off, as is Wicca. This is disastrous for New York Kittens. Bonzi buddies have completely gutted the support line of NY Kittens. D-Mech Sniper. Wisp's going to be forced to use the EMP. Catches two, but who's there to get the kill? Nobody. Bonzi buddy's going to flip it over 99 to 88. Can the Kittens even get a touch here? Peace going to fall before he's even able to, and that should be just about it. Wicca hacked on her way to the point there. Still a little bit of a touch coming through from Aramori on the Moira, but that should just be, you know, a token attempt there.
Such a close first map. I hope the rest of the series is as close, because if we're in for this for the rest of it, and 5 maps potentially, we're in for a treat. But I think most importantly here for Bonzi buddies, just very, very smart play at the tail end. They knew that they were ultimates on the side for NY Kittens, so instead of waiting for them to pre-press, they just go in immediately with the Kitsune Rush. They get that enhanced, rate of fire. They're able to get their abilities back. The cooldown's reduced, and Wisp never get the chance to use that EMP. They jump so quickly on that support lineup of Wicca and Aramori that they never get any chance to engage themselves. So just, you pull the trigger a little bit quicker here, you win the first map. So don't wait too long for that setup. Sometimes you just gotta go for it.
Yeah, sometimes indeed. I mean, it would have been nicer to see that EMP from Wisps come out a lot more early, but we're having some compositional swaps here from NY Kittens. This time they're opting no more Sombra, instead you go with an Ashe and an Echo. No Mercy to pocket either one of them, so it's going to be kind of up to where Wicca's going to throw those healing cookies, who's going to be getting the most of those, but she actually falls really, really low, almost gets caught out there. But meanwhile, Peace and Wisps making up for it and taking down both Zebra and Zamba. NY Kittens should be able to stake their claim on the point here.
This is this hybrid dive pump that we've seen. Yeah, sure, you've got the Winston to engage, you've got the Echo to fly overhead, but you're playing pretty far back with the rest of your comp. And even though there was a hack onto, I believe, Wicca, I mean, they just held their ground. They say, hey, no one's diving on us because we dived on them first. So we just talked about tempo play and, going to your opponent quickly, going first, initiating first. That's exactly what New York Kittens do, and because of that, they're rewarded with that first point capture. And
not only that, but there's not really anyone that, like, Zebra can reliably displace. You even see him going in there for the punch onto the back line, but you've got a Brigitte and an Ana, but hey, maybe you go for the DPS. You take down both Wisps and Peace. If the supports didn't work out, we'll deal with the front line instead. That's going to be Bonzi buddies flipping the point. Only 24% for the Kittens.
Yeah, no contest, so they give it up for free. They try to regroup and said play for this next fight. Not really a whole lot in the ultimate bank just yet. They are close to that nano, but right now they just got to worry about Zebra, who's just punching them back consistently. They can't even get it off their own high ground right now.
Yeah, I mean, the pressure is still there, so, Zebra can't commit onto a kill, but, really all he needs to do right now is just buy time for Suga to build up to an EMP, for Zamba to build up to a Pulse Bomb, really anything. And as long as the point percentage keeps ticking up, they're sitting pretty. Sniper gonna receive the nano, building up to that primal rage. Are they going to be able to find it? Gets booped away slightly. Kitsune Rush coming out from Otters. It's actually gonna be able to keep the back line of Bonzi buddies alive. And, NY Kittens, they haven't been able to find really much of anything for an in here. A boop to kill Wicca there, finish that one off. The duplicate from Peace is swiftly dealt with, and New York Kittens, I think they need to take a reset here.
Yeah, they're finding themselves on the outside looking in. They cannot engage the way they wanted. They swap Wisp to the Tracer, which I think is good. They get more pressure on that front line, but just not finding really the initiation they wanted to. They use Duplicate also on the Tracer as well, so double Tracer setup, but still can't find anything. And now Sniper falls early on to this fight. over before it began. They will trade for Zebra, actually. So this is the go button. I say, you know, you're going to get your tank back quicker. Just go for it. Go for the objective. Force the enemy team into an uncomfortable position while you have this advantage for spawn.
Absolutely, but they do have to be on the watch out for Shugu there, who has the EMP. You know, he swapped over to the Sombra, is not going to have his before Shugu gets the opportunity to pull the trigger on it. So Sniper going to go in, pressure the backline down. The EMP comes out, whiffs, going to be a victim of that, but Sniper has the Primal Rage, so they can stay alive. Aramori with a headshot onto Zamba, and Kittens, they're still alive. They're still able to keep the fight going. Zebra going to fall as well, courtesy of Wicca, and suddenly the tide is turning in New York's favor.
Yeah, they do get this point capture. They flip it back, but even with that advantage, numbers-wise, they don't play the point. They try to play for the fight, and so they try to play for the elimination to secure the objective later on. Because of that, they give up 99% to Bonzi Buddy. So they win one fight. This map is over, and Yorkins, they have nothing in the ult department just yet. Kittens Rush is so close by, but they go in quickly. They get that pulse bomb elimination first, and it is all over.
They take down Wicca. That's going to be pretty big. She was building up to that beat. That was one of the ultimates that the Kittens would have been banking on here, but it's going to be Zamba with a pulse bomb onto Sniper. A Kitsune Rush from Aramori. That's their whole lifeline right now. Peace has the EMP and is going to find an early kill on Takai, but I think he got forced to translocate out and isn't going to be able to use it. Wicca going in for the touch. Peace going to strike with the EMP, but has to translocate out immediately, and the follow-up just isn't there. Nobody from the NY Kittens can touch, and Bonzi Buddies are gonna take Ilios.
Two sub-maps, the exact same result, where Bonzi Buddies, they get two early picks in what is last fight territory. New Yorkins have ultimates at their disposal that they could use, but they just don't engage quick enough. They go for that EMP quicker on that first sub-map. They go for the Kitsune Rush quicker on that second sub-map. I'm not saying it's going to guarantee them the fight win, but they are just not initiating quick enough, and because of that, they're going to lose this first map. Give yourself a there. They don't do it. They try to play a bit more reactive instead of just aggressive, and here we are, down 0-1 to start off the series. Bonzi Buddies, they are going to play Zebra on that Doomfist, and they're going to make it work.
Yeah, and it's not even the Doomfist that's the most dangerous part. I mean, take nothing away from Zebra. He's a very dangerous Doomfist player indeed, but like, if you're playing against the Doomfist, you can kind of counter that, right? And we even saw, you know, Zebra kind of getting griefed a little bit, getting hard countered. What's actually dangerous is a team that knows how to effectively play with a Doomfist, and that is exactly what Bonzi Buddies are. You know, every time you're seeing Zebra going in, causing chaos, there's a Tracer there. There's a, you know, there's a Lucio there. There's everybody there to collapse onto those stunned targets and put in the damage, put in the hurt, make it work, and set the tempo. They're constantly the ones that are acting first in order to create that chaos, force New York Kittens to be the ones to react to it. And then, you know, they just end up coming out ahead in the game every time we go through that little do-si-do there of like punch, stun, kill, or punch, stun, rally, you stay alive. So we don't get the kill, but now you don't have rally, so we can just back off, come back in, punch, stun, Tracer pulse pistols, kill. You're done, dusted. That's where the real danger is in all of that combination play that comes through with all of these moving parts on Bonzi Buddies.
Absolutely. It's the follow-up. Every single time that punch is going in for a singular reason, either, like you said, it's getting an ultimate out or it's just going for that elimination straight up. And this is what I was saying before. Like, this is going to be where I'm like, oh, yeah, I called this earlier on in my predictions. This is exactly how you play Doomfist. Sure, like, the one punch potential is not there nearly as much as it used to be in the past, but the CC, that crowd control, which is generally gone from Overwatch 2, a lot of those crowd control abilities no longer exist. Well, Doomfist still got it if you're able to get that power block powered up, and that is exactly how they were playing off of it. So, yeah, the rest of the team, like you're saying, just immediately playing around it. And we were talking before about how New York Kittens, you know, we're playing great as a team previously. Well, Bonzi Buddies, they are also doing it. And right there, they did it just a little bit better to edge them into that victory for that first map. But second map will be coming up just momentarily. It will be New York Kittens' pick. We don't know it just yet. Actually, we're going to be throwing it to a break before that happens. So don't go anywhere, folks. We're going to be back with the second map of this first of three grand final series in just a moment.
True to their namesake, once the Bonzi Buddies get onto the point, they are proven to be quite impossible to uninstall. Welcome back, everybody, to the Toronto Defiant Community Cup for Pride. We are on map number 2, and it's going to be Circuit Royale.
And yeah, if you want to follow CB you can follow her at CB on Twitter, just in case you didn't know.
Oh my god, that's me.
Oh
that's
my god,
me. They're so sweet. I love all of these players so much. Speaking of, I mean, we got Kindred coming in for NY Kittens. You know, they're going with a Junker Queen comp, which I think is a competent counter to the Doomfist composition. We'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I mean, we thought it'd be interesting that usually we'd expect Sniper to be playing this map because they are kind of the Sigma specialists on this team, but instead, it makes sense if you want to run into the Doomfist with this Junker Queen. I mean, Kindred is the person to do it, so we'll have to see how this plays out. She has been pretty phenomenal so far on the Junker Queen, the one map that we saw on the previous series, but this is a whole new ballgame. There's a lot more high ground to contest.
Yeah, and the ball game for Zomba might already be over. Ditto for Sugu as Peace just running right through them and Wisps with the cleanup there. Dash resets coming through to pump in more damage, and the Sojourn from Wisps has been cleaning it up. Zebra not going to be able to get out with his life, and NY Kittens, they're going to be able to start pushing forward, but that was a really close hold for Bonzi Buddy, so there should be time to come back.
And I really like this play from Wisp. Going to the Sojourn still has a lot of one-shot potential even after the nerf. Sure, you're not going to get them like crazy like you did previously, but especially if you're able to displace people with the Junker Queen, you're able to get the Jagged Knife, disorient them where they are, and then go for those charged up railgun shots. It's easy peasy, but Sogu's going to answer themselves.
Yeah, there's the disruption from Zebra on the Doomfist yet again, rearing its ugly head. Zomba this time gonna be getting the cleanup, and that's gonna be a real swift fight for Bonzi Buddies. What's interesting, by the way, is you brought up Wisps on the Sojourn. Zomba also opened with it, so we have a Sojourn mirror.
Yeah, absolutely. That time you could see Zomba getting a lot more value out of it, and they're able to kind of capitalize off of those Doomfist engagements that we were talking about previously. The displacement themselves, like both teams basically are just trying to displace the enemies in different fashions. You know, I think the Doomfist one's a little bit more CC oriented, but again, this Sombra, Sugu is like really stepping up here.
Yeah, Sugu, I mean, pretty much displaced Peace's head from his shoulders there. You know, wasn't a headshot kill. That joke might have been a little bit more effective if it was, but what's about to be effective is the ult economy from Bonzi Buddies, because they have nearly everything save for that EMP. With a kill onto Zebra, though, I don't know that they'll be given a chance to use it. They take down Wisp, but Sugu has fallen as well, so the EMP gonna be a little bit delayed, getting lost in the mail on the way to delivery here, so NY Kittens can keep the cart pushing up and potentially deliver it all the way here, but Zebra should be back shortly, and there should be another contest coming in off of the high ground here. Kitsune Rush from Aramori gonna come out, but Peace falling again. Zomba with that overclock, a Discord Orb onto Kindred. She's not going to get out alive, and that's going to be another stall out for the cart.
Oh, that's so expensive too. Layering support ultimates, that's a big no-no. Even if one's more defensive, one's more attack-oriented, they have nothing to counter this potential EMP on the set. They're actually going to force out as well the overclock. So Zimba used theirs, but now Wisp going to use their own. They did force out a Transcendent, so a good ult trade, but the biggest thing is there's nothing really on the side of New York Kittens that's going to counter the EMP except for that Suzu, and there it is.
Yep, it's a huge EMP, and there was Suzu. If it came through, wasn't enough to stop Peace. Kindred with a kill onto Zebra, but again, that will be something that'll be able to come back quite quickly. And yeah, NY Kittens, they're still fighting this one out here, but not really finding much of anything. A bit of a stalemate temporarily as the cart continues to stall out. I think, did Kindred try and use the Rampage in that last fight? Yeah, that's
why I was saying, oh no. They died in the middle of casting it, and now they're going to try to slug onto this Ramatra instead.
That's really unfortunate, because you're not going to have a whole lot of time to build up the Annihilation with only 30 seconds left. The Dragon Blade from Peace going to have to come out, but Zomba and Otters just collectively shut it down. That's 2 for Otters, and Kindred getting anti-nated, discorded, forced all around. 10 seconds left, and there's no one left alive for NY Kittens. The cart's gonna stall out. Full hold for Bonzi Buddies.
All right, New York Kittens are gonna wish it was a full cap, but yeah, they are not able to get that first point. And I gotta say, the ult economy usage there just was not solid at all. I go back to laying no support ult. You really need to keep that sound barrier as a counter to that EMP. Sure, it's not necessarily guaranteed, because maybe you get EMP, you get hacked, and you never actually get a chance to use it, but then you can save it for next fight and just go in with those extra shields instead. They layer ultimates onto what was I believe a nanoed overclock that went on to Zomba, or at least there was a nano and an overclock used at the same time, and they just immediately lost people right off the bat. So these engagement issues that I've mentioned previously, like, you know, not moving fast enough with ultimates, playing a bit too reactive, there you see them panic a bit, and it leaves them really with nothing left. But yeah, that Rampage usage from Kindred, I could understand, you know, just throwing it out there if you're trying to swap, but only had 30 seconds when they went for that last engage. That's not enough time to go for that swap. You have to save what you have and hope that it's good enough to get that final push and get you over the finish line for that first point. Instead, you see the golden box of victory, not even at that first finish line. Bonzi buddies, they don't have too much work to get done here to go up 2-0 and potentially get to series point.
And the problem, too, is that most of the work that Bonzi buddies have to do is just going to kind of come naturally, right? Because you're going to have Zebra constantly pushing NY Kittens back with these charged up rocket punches. And, like, you have to kind of hold close if you're the Kittens, because you can't afford to get capped on here. You can't afford to let Bonzi buddies push all the way up. And I think Bonzi buddies have read this also, because you can have a look at what Shugu's showing right now. It's the Bastion. Likely going to put a lot of pressure onto Kindred. I don't know if the Lifeweaver's going to stick.
Over the top.
Wait, okay, this is an illegal play, by the way. I just want to point that one out. Florida Mayhem couldn't get away with this, and neither should Bonzi buddies. In fact, Sugu's not going to get away with it. Wicket with the punish there, and I thank you for trying, I guess, but also, you know, didn't quite pan out.
All right, so we're getting the map restart.
If we get the admins in on this,
Yeah, I was working for the Fuel at the time, and I put out a tweet like, congrats to the Florida Man for bringing the first team to win a map twice in one series, but they tried it, didn't work. It wasn't the main wall this time around. Maybe that's different. Maybe it's the pedal that, you know, is allowed. I don't know. Regardless, they tried the funny. The funny did not work.
So it's actually like the skating across the roof kind of thing that's technically illegal, which I don't know like how that goes into play with like Farah, like if they really enforce that, but and they're definitely enforcing a strict no Shugu policy here. Gonna force the Sombra to translocate out. Kindred falls though. This back line of Kai and Otters collectively taking down the horse. NY Kittens, they're getting a lot of kills for it, but without that Orisa there, they're not gonna be able to effectively hold this space. They're gonna have to play behind corners, around cover, and keep their heads ducked down low.
Yeah, you got to play natural cover right now. Not having that tank to beef up your front line really going to put you in a bad position. You see them having to go around the corner, so even though they technically have the numbers, they have to back way up for this Orisa to come back. Now they have them back onto the field, but you can see already the ultimates are getting charged up way quicker for Bonzi buddies.
I mean, NY Kittens, they have a fair amount of ultimates, and they've got a headshot from Peace onto Zomba there. You don't even need an ultimate for that one. Otter's going to fall as well, and this should be a dead push for Bonzi buddies, and you can even see Zebra just going to turn around, punch right out. Pretty successful push for NY Kittens. They bought time.
And that's what they really need right now. They need to buy as much time as possible and make sure they keep their Orisa alive, because the checkpoint, the victory box is so close, but getting that first pick, the second pick, oh, this is falling apart.
Yeah, it is all coming crumbling. NY Kittens, what's left of them, in fact, are going to have to invest ultimates and not layer them again, but an EMP. The beat from Wicket is good. If they're going to be in a follow-up, Peace is going to go with the Dragon Strike from spawn, but Kindred gets focused down by all 5 members of Bonzi buddies. And once again, the NY Kittens, they have to play behind natural cover, and they can't play on the cart without a tank. And Bonzi buddies, they take a 2-0 lead.
All right, so I think you don't want me predicting for you, essentially, is if I'm past you, you don't want my prediction going to you, because right now, this is not going the way of NY Kittens. There, yeah, they lay the support ultimates again, but in a 3v5, I feel like that's really all you can do to hopefully stay alive long enough for the rest of your team to get back. But I think the issue there was their positioning. I mean, they early on, and then Kindred gets back, but then Kindred gets slept, so she's like completely out of position. So it's the positioning issues. Like they have to play way farther back than they want to. They don't really get control of the cart. Then they again have to back up when they lose their tank. Just so many little micro mistakes that kind of lead up to what that map ended up being, which was Bonzi buddies having a very good defense and, you know, not as strong as an attack. They definitely struggled after going for some of those meme plays, but we're still getting a ruling on that. We'll see how that ends up. But overall, once they kind of went away from that Bastion Lifeweaver setup, they kind of had control for the most part, because again, they're getting that really good displacement CC chaos that we expect of a Doomfist comp.
Yeah, and it's not even just the Doomfist as well, right? Because you also have the Sombra that everyone has to try and play safe to avoid getting hacked and getting caught out and having to try and take a duel with her. And like, whenever you're trying to duel a Sombra as a backliner or even as a DPS, you can't really pressure down the Doomfist that's constantly being an ever-present threat to your front line, you know, displacing Kindred again, forcing her into uncomfortable positions where she's going to just be slept and discorded and hard focused by the entirety of Bonzi buddies. Just 5 for 1 on that one kill there, you know. Just this one player in particular, I want to ruin their life, is what they're saying here. And it works out. all of these things that are coming together for Bonzi Buddies, they look cohesive. Even if it's chaotic, that's what they want. That's where they thrive. And it's got them a 2-0 lead in this series. And that puts them on to match point.
It does indeed. And I mean, again, New York Kittens, that was their pick. We expect them to go for Sigma Comp. They instead tried to play the Junker Queen, try to play a bit of a different counter, and it was working, for certain points. I feel like that first fight went really, really well. I feel like their first fight actually for both attack and defense went really well in their favor. But you could see like the Bonzi Buddies, they're making adjustments. They're realizing, hey, like, if they were going to play like this, we're going to play like this instead. We're going to focus different targets. We're going to play maybe a little bit less aggressive, maybe a little bit more aggressive. The main issue is that New York Kings, they're not adjusting quick enough. I feel like Bonzi Boys, we're seeing them adapt right on the fly. New York Kings, they were the ones adapting previously in that semifinal. We saw them making those swaps that worked out much better. Bonzi Buddies aren't necessarily making like roster swaps or character swaps. The heroes are mostly the same. It's just the way they're playing them is very adjusted to what New York Kings is dishing out on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, I still feel like New York Kittens are adapting or at least trying to, but the things that they're trying to do just aren't quite panning out thus far. But they're only going to have, I mean, at this point in time, one more opportunity to get it done. They have to be correct for pretty much the rest of this series because, again, it's match point for Bonzi Buddies. NY Kittens map pick. I mean, where do you take a Doomfist to that he can't be this lethal?
That's a good question. And I'm going to look up what game mode is next. I do believe it's push, but I will see if I'm correct on that.
If it's push, there's like no answer. Like there's no answer to that question. Like Doomfist can be a pain on every single push map. Like maybe New Queen Street because you can get away with playing the
Yeah.
Junker Queen. But even that, like you still think like Doomfist is pretty solid on that one. Like I I feel like first of all, yeah, push is confirmed. It is going to be a push map. So NY Kittens, they're gonna have to pick something. They only have 3 options, but like, what do you do? Like, how do you counterpick this now?
I do think you pick New Queen Street just because, or no, excuse me. I think you pick Colosseo is what I was going to say
Mhm.
actually, because the high ground, yes, exists, but I think the biggest thing is that neutral fight really doesn't rely on high ground. Whereas in New Queen Street, you do have a lot of high ground, like just neutrally all over that kind of middle part of the map. Esperanza also, I would say, actually has probably the most high ground between all of these different push maps. So Colosseo, sure, you kind of get more into high ground and controlling high ground when you get to like either team's side of the map. But when you're playing that neutral, Doomfist is way less useful in terms of playing high ground. I do think there is maybe a bit of concern about like crowd control, like being punished
Mhm.
into a wall because that neutral part of the map, that mid part of the map is very close quarters. Like you're saying, like it's kind of like dang if you do, dang if you don't. There's always going to be some sort of disadvantage you have playing in this Doomfist, regardless of the map type or the
Yeah,
map chosen.
I'm almost kind of the complete opposite. Like I think Colosseo is the one place you don't take them. Like all those points are valid, but I think the way that they should counter it personally is to like keep trying to put eggs into the Kindred on Junker Queen basket because that seems to be A, what they're most comfortable with, and B, the only real thing that's had some consistent success against this team. I mean, it didn't get them quite enough, but I think, if they kind of clean up some of that ult economy, some of those issues where they're over investing into fights that they shouldn't be, they might still be able to make up the deficit there and come back ahead. And I think, you know, Esperanza or New Queen Street are better maps for Junker Queen, and I think you want to try and play to your strengths here, rather than just try and counter out the Doomfist with like the map pick as well. Because at that point, like you are just playing so reactively, even outside of the game. Like at a meta level, you're like reacting, and that's what they want. They want that chaos. They want you to react.
Yeah, and I think that brings up a beautiful point about reactive gameplay overall. If you're playing it in game, in map selection, all these things, you're kind of letting the enemy get into your head almost, where you're waiting for them to make that move, and you're like, all right, how do we counter strat this? How do we big brain it? And then sometimes you're just overthinking what could be such an easy solution. It's like, hey, let's just play what we're best at. Let's just play the map that we feel the most comfortable on. So I think that is an amazing point. It does look like we have the map locked in. We'll just have to see what that is in a second. Um, but yeah, I agree. Play more the Junker Queen. And I think then like we're trying to meet somewhere in the middle. I think probably Esperanza is where I'd want to go. I would still say avoid New Queen Street at all costs, to be honest. I think that neutral, like high ground, is a killer, but Esperanza has so much kind of like brawly territory where if you can just kind of run at them, it works out really well. And we have to remember this team looked best against Bonzi Buddies on control, which is very chaotic map type. I would say push is if not more chaotic, at least the same amount of chaos. We were just constantly running at each other. You know, you're not playing over a set objective that's just staying or a cart that's moving. Like that, sure, the push bot does move over time, but you're always running at each other like full steam ahead.
Yeah, it's you pretty much hit the nail on the head with that. It is a very chaotic game mode. Like potentially again more so than Control, where you do constantly want to butt heads with your opponent, and it's all kind of a game of momentum back and forth. Who's able to get the most progress? Who's able to go on a big wild overtime push that somehow runs it back throughout the entire map? We've seen crazy things happen on push in the past, time and time again. It's one of those things where those kinds of like miracle situations are like bound to happen. I know people like push is kind of like a controversial game mode, but I love it at least as a spectator and like to watch it. It's always fun how wild it goes. But as far as like trying to strategize around it, like I said, yeah, I think just trying to run right at the enemy with the Junker Queen and not just let yourself be displaced so easily. I think that's where their bread is buttered. I think they want to play the Junker Queen. I think they want to play like a Kiriko Lucio behind it, and whatever DPS that they can be the most effective with. Maybe again go with like, you know, the Echo, something that the Doomfist can't really interact with all that much, or go with like the Sombra, something that can just continually grief the Doomfist. And if you're able to get the better of the other Sombra, then I like you might be good, like you might be okay in that situation, but you have to be able to come out ahead on the DPS front as well, like not just the tank front.
We're going to see who comes out ahead on what could potentially be our final map as it is loading in right now. And I hate to toot my own horn. No, I don't. I love tooting it. But it is going to be Colosseo. So I might be bad at predicting who's winning, but I am good at predicting these maps. We're going to have to see if this plays to their strength. I do think that neutral ground, like I said before, that like first part of the map will work in their favor. They're actually looking towards an Orisa, not a Junker Queen, but still very rush style, kind of in your face tank options. So this makes a lot of sense. I like the Torbjorn pick actually a lot because that turret can make Zebra's life very miserable when they try to run in. And same thing for Sugu. If you try to go for that hack and the turret catches you out, it's canceled.
Yeah, and I also have like I'm looking at the Mei pick from Peace here as well, and like even though you're not really gonna be able to section anyone out with the walls, you can still just slow the Doomfist down and be really, really annoying. And sometimes that's all you have to do. I mean, that's Doomfist as a hero. That's just be annoying. Kindred, annoyingly, is going to go down quite early, though. A hack and a lot of focus fire. She's done for. I mean, Bonzi buddies are definitely going to be able to get the first control of the bot here, because NY Kittens, they just have to leave.
Yeah, they got to run for the hills at this point, try to regroup. Just caught out there. Didn't expect the Sombra to be there as well. And now that they know the Sombra's out on the field, I think they'll play a little bit more conservatively. But there, they just tried to go 1v1 versus Zebra on this Doomfist. But it's never a true 1v1 when Sombra is running around invisible. Now, they're going to have control of this high ground. This is where I think it's a little bit more dangerous. This is not where you really want to be as an Orisa. You want to run at the point, not be like kind of poking.
They might have their opportunity to do just that because Zebra's gone, so no more punches going to displace you. You can now run to the point. NY Kittens, they do take control of the point here. That's going to be a late kill there onto Otters as well, so they're actually going to be able to start getting some progress here with the barricade, potentially match what Bonzi buddies have put up.
Yeah, that javelin throw was really, really nice. Not an easy ability to hit. Peaks, though, caught out a bit, has to immediately go into their ice block, so that's a crucial ability that's going to be offline for the Mei. I think right now, Bonzi, they might actually give this space up and try to wait for it to be in more open areas, but instead, Zomba's actually going to be taken out by the alternate fire, so now they're going to give up a lot of space.
It's another backline harasser that's down early. Of course, you know, Zomba will be back in the fight early. Actually, scratch that. Going to go ahead and make the swap over onto the Sojourn. So it looks like now they do definitely, yeah, they want to play for this high ground. Have Zebra go in for the pounce right about now, especially with the hack onto Wicca there, but not able to clean her up. A little bit of a power block there. The turret does fall, but Zebra can't stick around too long. The heat gets a little too hot. Forced to punch away. Sugu trying to, like, contest the bot just a little bit longer so we don't get any more progress here. Zebra now back into the fight, but Peace has the Blizzard. Kitsune Rush from Aramori coming out. Again, I don't think you want to stick around if you're Zebra. The contest still kind of coming through from the high ground. The drop, very touch and go, but they can't really stick the landing here.
you can contest that high ground for days, and that means they get to go in for the EMP, but they don't get Wicca out. That's the sound barrier, the counter, as well as the multi-core thrown out, and finally we're seeing some progress being made. Eliminations are coming through, but Kendrick gets taken out immediately after. It's a 4v4. The nano also being used as Otters falls. Zebra's going to be very, very difficult to take out, but the number's not right now in Bonzi Buddy's favor.
Yeah, they definitely don't want to give up that bot progress to get the checkpoint there, but yeah, like you said, the numbers aren't in their favor, and that number just hit 0 as Zebra falls, and why Kittens, they look to be capping the checkpoint here, and that's pretty big.
Yeah, they get the closer spawn, which means even if they lose this next fight, it means they can re-engage much quicker, stop a lot of bot progress. You see that they're actually rotating away right now to let their Orisa come back in, and now they can re-engage, but it's actually going to be a Kitsune rush from the other side that's splitting the team in part.
Yeah, there's gonna be the Terror Surge from Kindred to try and group everybody up. Zebra gonna get caught out the ice wall. It prevents the punch away, but Wisps and Peace fall, and there's no one to end up following up. Zebra gonna stay alive. That's Zamba with 4, and that's a beautiful overclock coming out from Bonzi Buddies. That turns the tide right back in their favor.
Oh, you think that they're trapped in there with you? No, you're trapped in there with them. Zamba immediately turning it around with that overclock. I think a lot of people really underrate what Sojourn can do now because of those nerfs to her damage, but she still has all that potential to get so many eliminations just like she did there. The overclock is constantly getting that railgun charge just like it did. It's gonna get rid of that forward spawn now that the push bot been brought back to neutral. And Kittens, I mean, they're so close to their support ultimates. I'm assuming they're probably gonna go for this Kitsune rush momentarily.
For right now, at least, I do like the Wisp swap to be able to control the high ground as the Ashe there, and I think it is pressuring Bonzi Buddies out a little bit, as is the Kitsune rush. A nice trade out there, Zamba for Wisp. So, I mean, the high ground no longer being threatened, but where the bot is now, you don't really have to worry about that all so much. It's more about the neutral fight here. And with the beat from Wicca, the fight's looking a lot less neutral, as Bonzi Buddies are going to have to be forced to play a little bit more carefully. The duplicate from Shugu comes out, is going to be forced out of it eventually. There is so much support keeping this duplicate Orisa alive, and able to actually stay alive throughout the entire duration. Comes back, cleans up Kindred, and Bonzi Buddies are still kicking here. They're gonna clean up Wicca, they're gonna clean up Peace, and they do finally win the fight.
They finally win the fight. It's expensive, but it gets the job done. I don't think I've ever seen a nano duplicate Orisa like that before, because you gotta remember, a duplicate, it's only 300 health max now, so you're not getting that full tank effect, but just being able to get pocketed like that lets them get the Terror Surge online. It will be their Sojourn being taken out in the meantime, but they're still continuing to get progress.
Zamba, yeah, like you said, gonna fall early, gets a little bit too greedy, a little too aggressive, and Zebra doesn't want to follow suit. The Suzu means the Pulse Bomb can't stick. That's a huge heads up play there from Kai, who's gonna follow it up with a Kitsune rush, and suddenly Bonzi Buddies are still in it. They're trying to counter out Zebra, not let him get anything done up there, but the bot is inching closer and closer to that checkpoint, matching NY Kitten's progress. So let's throw a wrench into the equation, or rather, let's throw a bob into the equation, coming out from Wisps to just try and grief the attack here from Bonzi Buddies, and it doesn't find kills, but it does throw everything into disarray, and Bonzi Buddies can't quite close this one out, but Wisp's gonna fall, so now the high ground belongs to Zamba.
That was so well played. They just completely kite what was the bob being thrown in onto the point. However, despite even staying alive throughout all that, getting the initial pick on to Wisp, it looks like they will lose control of the cart, lose control of this objective, at least for a little bit, and now they're kind of stuck. Like, they're out in the middle of nowhere. They're nowhere. I mean, they could probably rotate through the middle again, but this is completely disorganized from the side of Bonzi Buddies. Near Kittens, they gotta jump on this while they can, and of course it doesn't look like they get the chance. It looks like everyone has grouped back up.
Yeah, but because of that, like, disjointedness that you called out, they can't really take a fight in the middle of the point. They're gonna retreat back to old reliable high ground up here, where Zamba has another overclock, and it claims Aramori, but she was able to put the Kitsune rush down beforehand, but that's not gonna be enough to keep Peace alive, and that should be Bonzi Buddies with the benefit of that very oppressive high ground you called out, cleaning up the fight.
Good news for New Yorkins, they still have the sound barrier. If they used that there, that would have been absolute panic and would have been going really badly for them, considering how many ultimates Bonzi Buddies almost have. They haven't given up the lead yet, which is the most important. They also haven't given up the checkpoint, so they can still fight over this, can trade sound barrier for sound barrier. at the very least, just use it to get that upper edge early on. But I need to see them contest the push bot right now on high ground before it really makes movement. And there it is. You stay up there. You can just keep it contested for a very long time. It does not let it move at all.
I would really like to see Wisp be able to build up to an EMP, but Kai doesn't want to see that at all. In fact, doesn't want to see any of Wisp. He's going to go ahead and deal with the Sombra, send her back to spawn there. Sound barrier from Wicca going to come out, but there's only 4 people for it to catch. They have to make something out of this. And as the overhealth expires, no lives from Bonzi buddies expire because they got a little overhealth of their own from Otter's sound barrier as well. And it's Peace that's going to be the first to fall. And the rest of the dominoes that are the New York Kittens are going to fall. Bonzi buddies are going to cap the checkpoint here. They're going to take the lead. And only 2 minutes for NY Kittens to make it up.
They do take the lead, but that's so expensive. I think the biggest thing is they get that forward progress check marks. They will get the closer spawn, which they'll probably need if they lose this next fight. But they use 3 ultimates to 1. You trade the sound barrier for the opponent's sound barrier, as well as the meteor strike and the duplicate. That is a good investment overall for the side of New York Kittens, but they have to capitalize off it, and immediately Peace is taken down.
And it's a good investment and a good return on investment there. They're able to get Peace. Armory and Kindred going to fall as well. The bot's going to keep trudging forward, and you know, even though the Kittens have an EMP, they're gonna have other ults coming up online as well. They're like just not being given a chance to use it. Like, look where Wisps is playing right now.
Yeah, the neutral fights have been won so favorably by Bonzi buddies. They are just jumping onto targets as a team and melting them down. But Wisps has its EMP, could make a big game-changing play.
And the EMP only catches 2, but it looks like Kai gonna be forced to swift step away. Can they clean up a kill from this? Wisps has to go so aggressive, forced to translocate out. Again, no kills, but a lot of positioning being forced. So New York Kittens, they can try and get back on the bot, pressure it back a little bit, but Zebra wants to go in. He's getting really low though. A lot of pressure on him. Might be worth it. Zomba again with that overclock. Can't quite clean up Wicca, and meanwhile the other Lucio is gonna fall. Wicca actually gonna clap back and kill Zomba, get that overclock out of her face right now. Another kill onto Wisp, but that's all Suga can really ask for right now. Is kind of the best they can do. Is NY Kittens, they take the bot yet again.
Let's talk about how unfavorable Bonzi buddies ult bank was, but because they're able to win that neutral fight previously, they're gonna have everything except the overclock here. Their ult bank is actually looking much better than the Kittens, and this is getting down the last fight territory. In fact, this might be the last fight, depending on how they play this push bot. A lot of teams will just let it stay where it is instead of pushing it up. If you already have that lead, there's no reason to even push it closer to where the defending team needs to be.
Early beat gonna come out from Wicca, and they're actually gonna layer out the Kitsune Rush as well. That's New York Kittens' entire ult bank, but Otters had the sound barrier as well, was able to build up to it and use it and stay alive, and they're gonna find Aramori. The duplicate Sombra from Shugu is gonna find the EMP, and that pretty much just about does it. The Toronto Defiant tell us we should rise together, and Bonzi buddies do just that. They're gonna take a 3-0 here against NY Kittens, and that's gonna be it. They are your champions. Congratulations, Bonzi buddies. 3-0.
And there's going to be a lot of charity coming the way of the Trevor Project. Their designated charity, a great organization that again helps those in need with crisis management and talking to someone on the phone if you need to do something like that, therapy, all that good stuff. So just amazing gameplay, an amazing cause, and overall just amazing. I think the biggest thing is, like, even though it's a 3-0, the first and third map were so close. That second map was probably the only one I'd say, okay, well, that was pretty one-sided in the favor of Bonzi buddies. But New York Kittens, they put up such a good fight. It just was at the very end, it fell apart just a little bit both times around. Unfortunately, those little cracks in the armor are what make it evaporate completely. Bonzi buddies, they knew when to strike, and they did it so calculated. They were so smart, just I would say, with their Doomfist play. Like, I think Zebra, obviously kind of known for playing that Doomfist only, but it wasn't just like, as you said, how he played today, is how the team played around him and how they were able to use that to their advantage.
Yeah, like we were talking a lot about Zebra, and we highlight it because, yeah, he's known for that Doomfist play, but I think we need to talk a lot about Zomba and some of those big plays. Like, I erroneously called it a 4K. I want to apologize because that was a 5K. Ooh. With that overclock there at the end that we saw in play of the game. That was like, some of these insane Sojourn plays that you just like shouldn't really be able to pull out of nowhere like that. But Zomba able to find that makes up all the difference for Bonzi buddies, constantly keeps them alive, even when Zebra is under pressure. And it's also one of those things where when everyone's looking at the Doomfist, no one's looking at the Sojourn. No one's looking at Shugu on the Sombra or on the Echo or on whatever he's playing, because he's just playing so well across the board with like everything that he was coming out with as well. Like the DPS line and the follow-up that kept coming through from the side of Bonzi buddies. That like second part of the two-pronged attack, that's where the real venom is for this squad. And that venom, it claims the life.
Yeah, I mean, I think that everyone on that team had some venom in their fangs today. Like
Mhm.
everyone was striking. Everyone was finding that moment where they could capitalize, whether it was a defensive play, an attacking play. Like they were just absolutely on top of the ball as a whole team. And we're going to speaking to one member of that team in just a moment. We'll be taking a break, but don't get away. We got an interview with a winning member right after this.
Welcome back, everybody. Congratulations again to our champion squad, Bonzi Buddies, for their 3-0 victory over NY Kittens. I think we do have an interview here lined up with one of the members of the Bonzi Buddies squad who proved to be someone who had a few good looks for this squad, kind of played a bunch of roles, did a lot of damage, had a quite big impact for this squad, helped lead them to success. We are here with Shugu. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Happy to have you here. Well, I guess let's start with the most obvious question. How does it feel to win? How does it feel to be the Pride Cup champions?
Well,
Mhm,
one thing I can say for sure is I
mhm,
love winning, so it was a pleasure to win this. I'm good
mhm,
friends with everyone on the other team, so it
mhm,
was fun competing against them. Every now and then I
mhm,
meet them in like tournaments or like let's say in contenders or open
mhm,
division. So it's always fun to face them again.
Yes. Speaking of open
mhm,
division, I mean, you're hoping to win open division, I'm assuming in the future, if not already
mhm.
having done it in the past. Now you win here in the Pride Cup. How does it feel like to, play with a team in open division versus like playing here today with, different members, friends against friends? Is it a different vibe? Is it more competitive because you know them better?
I'm not sure because okay, so in a team environment, I guess it's a little bit more serious. With this team that I surrounded myself with, it was more of like a last second decision, right? I don't scrim with them. I talk to them only when we're like during matches. So it's a bit of a different vibe, but I still think they're up to par as an in terms of skill.
So with you kind of having that sort of dynamic, like how does it feel to kind of slot into these sorts of situations? I guess I'm also asking kind of here, like, what are the comms like? What's the game plan? Is it just simply like, Zebra go in, create chaos, and then you collapse on top of it, or is there like a little bit more nuance there?
Um with me stepping in, I have like a more of the competitive background in terms of
Mhm,
everyone else in that team. I have more experience. So I kind of
mhm,
slotted myself in and like took the team a little bit like a step above. So I took a bit of a role as in the engages, the dives. Of course, our support's still fight plan, but I took that aspect as in making it a bit more coordinated with Zebra.
It sounds like
mhm,
you're kind of taking a little bit over that IGL role, then maybe not necessarily coming up with the game plan, but kind of like helping with like target focus and ultimate usage, like during the actual fight, as opposed to the support's taking care of like planning how it's supposed to go.
Yeah, yeah. I still think everyone like in the team, they all know what they're doing, but like with a little bit of direction, like I think all these players could be like great and like top open division, maybe even contenders.
Well, I would be remiss if I don't ask this, like, I guess somewhat loaded question, but we are here to celebrate the Community Cup for Pride. So I just want to ask you, what does Pride Month mean to you?
Well, Pride Month, I have some family members who are part of the Pride community. I have some
Mhm,
friends, of course, and I just
mhm,
like supporting the people that are like that support Pride. So I think it's a
mhm,
great like message to send, and I think everybody should be in support of it.
Absolutely. 100% agree.
mhm,
As an ally myself, that's why
mhm,
we're all here, right? We're here to, celebrate the community at large. It's a big part of
mhm,
Overwatch throughout this entire month, through this tournament in the game.
mhm,
So kudos to you supporting your family members as well. I got one last question to you to bring it back to the
mhm,
gameplay. Midtown, or not Midtown, Casino Royale was a little bit one sided. So I got to ask, how did that map plan out like so much better than like the other two, which were a bit closer in that series? Was it kind of what they were playing, what you guys were playing, and how did you adjust accordingly to like kind of take that one more one-sided?
Let's see. So when we were going in, my team didn't really know what they were gonna run, but as I knew their players, I kind of had a feeling what they were gonna run. So we kind of like played around that. We knew they'd be on Genji because of Peace. We know they'd be like on Ash or Sojourn because of Wisp and Queen because of Kindred. So we played around that. We knew they were gonna be the brawl, so we tried to just absorb it with Sombra, with the hack, punish their Genji, punish their
mhm.
Queen, and it worked perfectly.
Yeah, it definitely worked perfectly. It worked wonders, absorbing all that punishment and dishing it all right on back. But I think that might be just about it for the interview here. But I got one more question, of course, the one that we always close out here with, and that is, do you have anything else you want to say? Any shout outs you want to give? Any final words from you, Shugu?
Well, shout out Vax, my girlfriend. She's supporting me in the chat. I love her. Shout out Bastion Man. He was like our team motivator, team coach, and of course my whole team. They're all good players.
Well, thank you very much for all of that. Thank you, and congratulations again on the big win. Very well deserved. And yeah, just thank you for coming out. Thank you for competing.
Thank you for having me.
Mhm.
Have a good one.
All right, let's go ahead and change gears here. We promised you a giveaway. AMD was so kind as to offer up a Ryzen 5 7600X CPU for one lucky player in this tournament, and we promised you we would announce the winner, who once again I'm very disappointed to announce is likely not myself or Jag. I can't, I can't express my disappointment enough. But someone's going to be anything but disappointed. We do have the winner of that ready to be announced here.
Yeah, I think likely is a bit of a nice term. I think it's impossible actually, because unfortunately, although the prod team is a team, we are not a team competing in this tournament. So I believe we have a video that's going to be shown that's going to help us select the winner. Victory, I believe, in round 2. Weren't able to make it past that. They were eliminated in round 3. But I mean, not only are you playing for a great prize pool for this charity, unfortunately you don't win that, but you get this CPU from AMD. That's a pretty great prize regardless.
Yeah, absolutely. You also like you bring up, Monster Ram, the team that, like you said, the 2-1 victory that they had in round 2. That is notable. They went over Strix, which is a very formidable team. We've seen Strix be pretty successful in some of the tournaments that they've played in recently. Ended up falling to Silly Squad, so not able to make it to our broadcast today. But at least one member of their team is going to be coming away pretty happy, and I think they can all be happy for their teammate there. So congratulations again to Zoolander for the win there.
Absolutely. And what a day it has been. What a weekend. We weren't here
Yeah.
yesterday for all these games, but there were so many that were played. 32 teams, as we talked about at the top of the broadcast, competing here for pride in so many different ways for this community that we all love so much. So, I mean, we got to close it out here. Unfortunately, it's been an amazing cast. Bonzi Buddies, our winners here today, CB, and it has been an honor to cast with you.
Yeah, it's been an honor to cast with you as well. I look forward to working with you some more in the future. And I mean, again, Toronto Defiance Community Cup for Pride. I cannot say anything other than I am so proud to be able to be here and to bring you this action. It means the world to me to be able to be here for you guys today. And it's been an honor to be here and cast alongside you, bring all the action from these players I know and love so well, and to get to bring you, the community, a little bit more entertainment, and to wish you guys all a happy Pride Month. Thank you guys all for coming by and supporting the scene. Hopefully we'll see you guys all next time. Bye-bye.